The Wartales.
Welcome to my Wartales guide for choosing the optimum start traits for your campaign. In today's video, I'm going to show you my optimum start traits and give my reasoning as to why I choose them. I do want to express that I don't believe that there is any one optimum set of traits. Many of the traits come down to personal playstyle and preference. It's important to keep in mind the traits you believe will create a synergy or sum greater than the whole within your war party. However, having said that, there are most certainly some traits that you should never take unless you are doing some kind of challenge campaign, while there are others that clearly stand out and should be given careful consideration. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, the first set of companions, apprentice friends looking for adventure. All of these traits really come down to what you want your starting companions, the composition, to be. The items that they start with are, while they will have a small impact to the way things go, overall it's more or less irrelevant. All of these items that you start with, items or bonuses that you start with, will more or less be irrelevant. So this is really comes down to what you want to play as. If you're starting out, I highly recommend apprentice friends looking for an adventure. It's a solid group. You get a swordsman, an archer, brute, and ranger. Just really a great classic role-playing game starting group of companions. Alright, so out of these traits, let's take a look at each one. So are used to long walks, reduces the speed at which the troop's fatigue stacks by 10%. Cunning fighters, additional 10% experience and an additional 10% influence gained after battles. Show incredible resilience, constitution increased by 10%. Are excellent at slap gains, critical damage increased by 10%. And are quick learners, experience gained for each profession increased by 10%. Alright, my honest opinion here is there are really only two that I would choose personally. This one, are used to long walks. You'll be doing an incredible amount of walking throughout the game, and fatigue plays such a major role that, and in order to manage your supplies efficiently, you want to cover as much ground and get as much done every time you take your war party on the march. So this trait, I highly recommend it. It's a great trait if you want to really economize all of your movement and make the best out of your army on the march. And the other skill that I highly recommend is constitution increased by 10%. This increases how tough your troops will be. Increases their, I believe, increases their hit points, so they'll be harder to take down. So this one I highly recommend as well. It's gonna give you that little bit of an edge where, you know, in a life or death situation, you have a 10% better chance of surviving. And this one I think is really good. Other than that, I would say the slap games. If you want to build a war party that is focused on dealing significant damage, you're not worried about them taking damage, that you want to just deal as much damage as possible, then I would recommend this one. However, I would say that it's more of an advanced strategy in my personal opinion. But I mean, if you want to have some fun and just try and deal as much damage as possible, this is one I would recommend. Now the others, quick learner, experience gained for each profession increased by 10%, and what was the other one? Cunning fighters, experience gained in combat. These two I would almost never pick. Sure, if you want to rush leveling up, they're there for you, but honestly, there's plenty of ways to gain experience in the game without having to rush it. If you want to put the work in, it's easy enough to gain experience. So I feel like you'll be better for it as well. You'll understand the game better by putting that work in. I think these are just and you're eventually going to get to a maximum level as well. So then at a certain point, these traits will no longer be affecting your party. So I recommend not going with those. My top two are in resilience, long walks. Close third is the slap games, and then the other two I wouldn't go with at all. But anyway, in this one, this is my go-to. Constitution increased by 10%. I just love having really tanky, really solid troops in my war party. Like I don't want to worry about anyone in the party going down, so that's why I go with that one. So as tough, I want my soldiers as tough as possible. All right, so if they had a flaw, it would be, all right, so a somewhat meek appearance, internal dissatisfaction, an uncommon bout of bad luck, a very hard time getting up, a serious lack of self-confidence. So this one's a little bit tougher, but let's just go through them first. So a somewhat meek appearance, carrying capacity reduced by 1 for each person in the party. Now this one is not too bad because you can increase your carrying capacity throughout the game. However, I'm the type of person, I like to have a lot of food and a lot of, I love to build up my resources. So being limited by the carrying capacity is a little bit tough. Internal dissatisfaction reduces the troops' happiness by 1 during each rest. This one doesn't seem so bad because most games that I've played through had no trouble managing the happiness of the troop. However, you do get bonus happiness once you have that 15. Anything beyond, any happiness that you gain beyond that 15 threshold is converted into 5 influence. So you're essentially losing potentially 5 influence per turn because of this reduction to troops' happiness. So that one's, it seemingly doesn't look so bad, but yeah, it's there too. Critical hit reduced by 3%. Uncommon bout of bad luck. Yeah, again, this one is, they all kind of suck. Danger during rest increased by 10%. You absolutely do not want to do this one. Yeah, 10%, 1 in 10 chance that there's danger doesn't sound so bad, but if you're rolling that 1 in 10 chance every time you encamp, and you're going to be encamping a lot, it's just going to spell trouble. So I would never choose this one unless, of course, I'm doing some kind of challenge campaign. And then willpower reduced by 1. Willpower is very important, and I would not recommend taking this one either. So the bottom two, actually, I would definitely not go with those ones. The critical hit, kind of on the fence with that one, but I really think it's between these two. And because the meek appearance is something that we can kind of manage in game, that's the one I'm going to go with. I don't like it because I like to have a big supply, and that reduction of 1 capacity for every single person in the troop does hurt, but I mean, you got to choose one. So yeah, I mean, it really, I would say, just one final thought here is that I would never pick either of these two. Between these 3, I could roll a dice and take any one of these 3. Yeah, so there we go. All right, now this is a really important one, and yeah, so let's get into it. Adaptive exploration. The difficulty of all regions adapts dynamically to your group's size and your unit's power. The game will always offer challenge suited to your troop. Region locked exploration. Each region of the world has a set difficulty from the start. You will have to expand and improve your troop before you can explore more dangerous areas and fight more powerful enemies. On my very first playthrough, I made the mistake and picked this one because I thought, oh man, that's great. I can explore all the regions. It's going to be super great. It's going to be so much fun. The thing is, what happens is that feeling of reward you get for leveling up your troop, for crafting new armor or stealing gear from enemies and just making your war party super powerful, you don't get that satisfaction because the more powerful you make your war party, the more powerful the AI gets, and everywhere you go the AI is the same power. So after that first time choosing it, I would never ever choose this campaign unless I want, you know, a really challenging campaign from start to finish, because that's exactly what adaptive exploration is going to give you. Region locked exploration, I think this is the only way to go, the only way to play the game. And not only is it so, theoretically it could make the game a little bit easier because you can take your time, you can build up your troop, build up your strength, but that's kind of the strategy of a role-playing game. But the big reason why I think this is the better one to choose is because it's more realistic. If you think about it logically, you know, certain cities could be more dangerous than others. Certain neighborhoods within cities could be more dangerous than others. And not to give anything away, but the story that's unfolding is there are refugees flooding into this province, and they're flooding here because something is pushing them here. Something is out there that is forcing them to flee their own lands and come to this province. So I think the only way to go is region locked exploration. All right, and then yeah, only way to play expert Iron Man. So much fun, so much fun. But of course, obviously, if you're learning the game, choose whatever difficulty you're comfortable with. All right, so even more importantly, our soldiers. What trait are we going to give them? So I like sword and shield. They're great tanks. Use sort of a shield wall kind of situation. The wrath trait is not bad, but I have a philosophy. I like to have a lot of people that can use the first aid. I know I can't deal out as much damage. However, the more I can heal my characters in battle, the less I'm going to have to use medicine. And in one of the campaigns I'm doing, I've got like so much of the ingredients for medicine stacked up. I've got a small fortune in potential medicine, but like I literally never have to heal my troops because I've been so careful through the battles. Yeah, but anyway, there's a lot more to that, but we'll get there eventually. All right, the traits that I pretty much almost always go with are, I'm not even going to go over the other ones. This is another area where it's really personal choice. I don't know if there's necessarily any bad ones here, but it's just how you want to customize your party. What are they going to do? Are they going to be damage dealers? Are they going to be tanks? Are they going to be trying to outmaneuver the enemy? What is it? What function is your war party going to have when they're on the battlefield? But for myself, can't go wrong with Constitution. So brawny, that means 15% additional Constitution. The second trait that I always go with is movement. I want to outmaneuver my enemy. And then the trait that I always go with is lazy, because again, experience, there's unlimited experience in the game, and yes, we're going to level up more slowly. However, it doesn't really matter. We'll be able to compensate for that through hard work. So that's our first swordsman. Pardon me. All right. So here we have our ranger starting weapon. We can't change it. We can change his utility, and I think it's really important to have your ranger being able to run. It was actually in my Iron Man playthrough, there was a situation where it could have run out of danger, and I didn't use it. I don't know. I was distracted by the chat. That's the what happens when you do a live stream. Things you get a little bit distracted and you're not focusing. And it was such a what should have been a very easy battle turned out to be. I lost one of the starting characters right away. So next Thursday, we're gonna find out if I can survive. But yeah, we're gonna go with the same traits. We're gonna be able to, we want to outmaneuver our opponent, and we want that additional, just that little extra boost of Constitution to make him a little bit tankier. All right, starting weapon, pounds. Yeah, again, this is really personal preference what you want to use your starting heroes with. And taunt, this is, yeah, I was gonna say this is kind of useful for capturing wolves, because once you get your party to a certain level, you pretty much take out the wolves in the first hit. But I don't know, I really don't think it's all that useful. I don't even think it, yeah, I don't think it would necessarily work for that. Wrath is good, deal out that extra damage, but I'm gonna make him a healer as well, because if multiple people in the party get poisoned, or they're suffering, or multiple people are down and dying on the battlefield, I want to have options to be able to bring them back to life. So we're going with another first aid. Again, guys, this is my personal preference. This is what I like to play with, but you know, feel free to experiment, see what works for you, see what your trait. Having you be able to run might be, yeah, you know what, I think we'll keep her as being able to run, because if she gets caught in combat, we want to be able to get her out of combat. So I think that's really important. So we got 2 healers and 2 runners, and then we're gonna go with the same thing. Good God, wow, brawny, quick, and stupid. Did I do the, yeah, okay, I thought for a second there I did strong. And that's it. That's my starting composition. Oh, and our pony, of course. Traits, let's go. Can we change this? Alright, we want to go brawny because that'll increase his carrying capacity. And strong. Club-footed. Unlucky, because my ponies are all carrying the goods. They're not, we're not using them for fighting in combat. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I would recommend never using your ponies in combat, because if a pony gets killed in combat, you've got a twofold problem. Number one, you've lost a party member. Okay? Number two, you've lost the party member that's carrying all of the goods. So now you're down a party member, and you're more than likely going to have to, like, unload some goods because you can no longer carry the capacity. Anyway, I digress. That's all I've got, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. If you did happen to enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like, a comment, or maybe even subscribing. Would do my heart good. But anyway, thank you for watching, and have yourselves a great day.